Time is 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, I'm going to call this special meeting of council to order. Town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territories of the Chippewas of Georgina Island, as well as many other nations. His presence here continues to this day. As the closest First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands. And as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas recognized through Treaty Number 13, as well as the Williams Treaties of 1923. Shared understanding of the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together to a better future. Councillor, I have a motion to approve the agenda. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Gilliland, comments or questions? Call the vote. Councillor Thompson's yes. Councillor Gilliland? Councillor Gilliland's yes. Councillor Kemp? Councillor Kemp's a yes. That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Delegations. One item, 6.1, Aurora Economic Development Corporation Annual Report. We have a presentation to be provided by Keith Liu, Chair of the Aurora Economic Development Corporation. Keith, welcome. The floor is yours.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, staff, and fellow Aurorans. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you the 2026 annual report from the Aurora Economic Development Corporation. For those who don't know me, I'm Keith Liu. I've had the pleasure of serving as the chair for the past year. My family moved to Aurora about 5 years ago, and we didn't grow up here. We chose Aurora. And this town has changed our lives, truly, madly, and deeply. We built our company here. What started as an idea to help our neighbors and seniors turned into a globally recognized organization. And really a lot of it was due to the support that we had within Aurora and through AEDC. And many of you know that building a business is not something you do in silo. It requires a community to believe in you. And Aurora believed in us. And that was something we're appreciative of. But I can also tell you, speaking as a father of a child with multiple exceptionalities, I've had firsthand experience of the strength of our community, not just economically, but also socially, which is why I chose to serve. I'm not just a resident, I'm invested in Aurora. And so today I have the privilege of sharing with you a report about 2025 and looking into 2026. 2025 was a year of intention. It was a transitional year for the Aurora Economic Development Board because we had new directors, a new executive director, and a lot of new leadership energy. And we chose to, instead of just keeping our heads down and looking busy, instead we wanted to slow down and get aligned. And so we chose intention and we chose clarity before expansion. Sorry, waiting on the slides. As a reflection or as a reminder, if you're not, let me go backwards, sorry. If you're not familiar, the purpose of the AEDC is to provide strategic leadership, coordination, advisory, and support to economic development. And it's important for us to have no duplication so that we can actually work together, so that together we can drive sustainable economic growth in Aurora. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about our diverse and awesome board. It's a team with diverse experience in healthcare, manufacturing, consulting, entrepreneurship, and much more. And this board is not just ceremonial, it's a working board focused on strategic planning, governance reform, and a lot of asking of the tough questions and sometimes finding the answers, but not always. But we are truly thankful for the leadership and commitment of this volunteer leadership, and they have been really doing an amazing job. And this year really culminated in strategic reflection, and it all started with a 2-day session where we really focused on one question, which is, where does the AEDC really add impact? And we wanted to drive alignment before acceleration. And it all came together to focus on downtown. Downtown was the organizing focus, because we all know that economic development is not abstract. It is visible. We can see our businesses succeed, and we can see the impact of those local businesses. Investors ultimately visit, entrepreneurs evaluate, and our residents bring guests. And downtown tells that story. And so a confident, coordinated, and vibrant downtown changes perception. We also wanted to act with intention. And so continuous focus on innovation, on our local businesses, on marketing, but all first with a downtown first lens. And that again was something we intentionally chose to do. Instead of trying to do more and more, let's focus on what we need most in Aurora. And of course, this happened with a foundation of strength. We had to focus on governance. We had to do a lot of policy reform. We also had to look at how we were recruiting and onboarding new members. A lot of the work we did was behind the scenes. It was certainly not flashy, but it was necessary because strong institutions build strong economies. And we continued championing initiatives, working, of course, with the ECDev team for this downtown streetscape plan, townwide parking study, and of course the permit system. But any which way that we can support the ECDev team is something we continue to do. And there's also collaboration. We collaborated closely with the chamber to ensure that we build on the community profile, work on the visitor growth plan, explore aurora.ca, the virtual tour, and other motions working with the chamber. And I can tell you that as someone who has served, I think this is my 4th year on the ECDev board, this is the closest we've worked with the chamber, and we're working closer and closer, which I think is quite phenomenal. This all kind of culminates and gets towards the end of the year. I recognize a few faces here who may have been at the Aurora Connects event, and that was in December. And what was amazing was that Aurora Connects was not just an event. It was a signal. It was a signal that Aurora can convene innovation, a signal that Town Square can host serious conversations around entrepreneurship, around medtech, around biotech. But it was a signal that we are actually having visible activation. And we chose to host this downtown intentionally. And for those of you who were not there, let me help you paint a picture. What was amazing was we had over, I think 120 guests come across downtown to the town square, sorry, on a cold, snowy night. And everybody came through. And at this event, we had leaders, we had entrepreneurs, we had industry leaders as well. And we included a lot of phenomenal speakers and guests. And one of them was a startup that could predict heart attacks 3 days in advance. It's an FDA cleared business. It's a scaling business, and they're Canadian. Another business was developing, contributing to vaccines through egg yolks so that Canada can build our own supply chain so that the next time we have a pandemic or the next really big challenge that we have, we can actually rely on ourselves and not just on our neighbors down south. Another organization was able to help screen, track, and manage skin cancers and burns and wounds and reduce patient wait times from a year down to 2 weeks. And you know what's the common thread between all of these businesses? All 3 of them are in Aurora and are neighbors. and we can walk to each other's homes. And since that event, we were able to galvanize a community, and we've been seeing significant interest and demand, not just from those companies, but also other attendees, to not just land in Aurora, but grow and expand. And so that was a phenomenal opportunity for us. And it's just a sign of what is to come. I'm going to keep this relatively short, but I moved to Aurora because it was a great place to build a family. But what I have learned is that it can be something much more. Aurora can punch above its weight, a town that can build confidence downtown, and a town that not just participates in the regional economy, but can also lead it and help shape it. This is the opportunity we have in front of us, and we are ready. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Council, can I get a motion for the recommendation? Let's Councilor Weiss, second Councilor Thompson. Comments or questions to the presentation as well as to the report? Councilor Weiss?
Keith, thanks for the presentation. It's good to know what's going on behind the scenes in economic development. Just a couple of questions. How often does your group meet?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Relatively regularly, we have our separate work groups as well. So it feels like we meet at least monthly, but sometimes it's more than once monthly.
Great.
Councilor?
Thank you. I was involved in the visitor work, and I thought that was very well done. Had experts in that field and very good cross-section of the residents and businesses in the community. So I'm looking forward to the results of that and the draft that's coming forward. So just wanted to commend you on that work. Through you, Mayor, I'm just wondering though, typically an annual report has financial data in it, financial statements, and I see that what you're requesting here is that there's a waiver for the financial year. Can you explain the rationale for that through you, Mayor?
Keith, or do you want Andrew? It's up to you. Andrew?
Andrew's our executive director.
Through the chair, the AEDC does not have a budget. So there's no financials to report.
Councilor?
Well, then maybe from a KPI standpoint, there's money that, how much money is advanced on an annual basis to AEDC through you, Mayor? Andrew?
Through the chair, 100,000.
100,000, that's in the budget?
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm interested in the activities that you've done, but I don't see from an impact standpoint in terms of an investment, what is being focused on more vis-a-vis the amount of money that's being spent on any one of these. It would really be helpful, and maybe through you to the treasurer, Mayor, is there a report, a financial report on the expenditures here that could be sent around to us? Because I'd really be interested in seeing where the money is being spent. And the second question on that is that if money's in a budget and it's not used, does it go into a reserve for them to be able to use in subsequent years, or is it just rebudgeted for the following year? So two questions there, Mayor.
Swear Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So the budget for the ADC is part of the town's budget. And any excess funds would follow the surplus disposition policy. I can't remember if there was a separate item for the surplus in that area to go to a specific reserve or not. I would have to look that up. We can pull together like the information working with Andrew and have that information circulated with what was spent for the AEDC in 2025.
Councilor?
Great, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Councilor Thompson?
Thank you. Just to comment, I just really want to thank you all for your sharing your knowledge and your experience and your efforts throughout the year to help us with our development. And I look forward to 2026. Thank you.
Councillor Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Keith, and members of the board for all your contributions. I know we've went through many sessions and hours trying to align ourselves with our future objectives and current objectives, and I think we've accomplished that, as Keith mentioned. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you guys in the new year.
Skillen.
Thank you. I just echoing the same comments around the room. I have seen a lot of the changes of the board and the development moving forward, a lot of great ideas. And, it's been a long time going. We've seen a lot of change, and I'm really looking forward to participating in the downtown subcommittee group as well. I know since you've kind of adopted the whole BIA or downtown revitalization as such down there. And I also see the board collaborating with other stakeholders in the community, and you really start to feel that momentum. And it just doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a period of time. And I think that your vision you've worked so hard on has been pretty consistent. And the more that you work on it, the more it comes to life. So I appreciate all you guys are doing, and let's keep on going. Thanks.
Councillor Gallo.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you, everyone, for taking your time, and your precious volunteer hours are much appreciated. I did have a question, but you kind of answered it in your speech. I got the sense that there's some bit of new life to the organization, and you're spending some time regrouping. My question was going to be, how are you going to communicate, or how are you going to gauge the impact to the community for your work? Obviously, that's an important gauge. I'm sure all of you don't want to spend your time spinning wheels and not achieving anything. But considering where you are and where you're going, maybe next year I'll ask that question. And just in terms of the budget, through you, Mr. Mayor, there is the $100,000 is part of the community services budget. And I also noticed that in economic development, there's another $100,000 for a strategic plan. Do you know to what extent you'll be participating in that town strategic plan? Through you, Mr. Mayor?
Keith.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's a big part of actually our focus as part of the transition. It's a year of learning, right? And part of it, and looking back to our most recent event, a lot of us didn't know we had so much innovation leadership and medtech leadership here. And so a big part of 26 is also the research and gap analysis. And through doing that, we'll have the actual metrics that we should be measuring. And so that will go into your next year question, but I'll also invite Andrew if you want to comment.
Andrew.
Thank you. Through the chair, we will be initiating the start of a 5-year economic development strategy. The actual work will commence with the new council in early 2027, but we'll start developing along with the board of directors, scoping out the RFP in terms of what will actually be in and what we'll be looking for to include in the next strategy. So that'll be something that we will probably start to work together on later this year.
Councillor.
Thank you. The budget says Q3 2026, but I'm looking forward to the plan. And just through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, do you know when we could receive kind of a summary of, from a financial perspective, a report?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So for the information for 2025 as to what was spent, we can pull that information together fairly quickly and just work with Andrew to identify what the spending was and how it lines up to the initiatives. It shouldn't take too long. I think maybe about a week.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, is the intent to put that on a public agenda?
Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, no, we were going to circulate that through council, but if that's what you want, we could do a report if there's a motion.
Councillor.
I think there's some value to that. They are considered a community partner, and all of the others have a financial component to it. And it's $100,000. I think I'll leave it up to council, but I think the public would be interested in that financial report.
Just want to add something, Mr. Seo?
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair. Just to clarify, so the actual board itself doesn't get any funds, right? So it becomes like a sub-report of the council's general budget, just for clarity. That money flows through planning and engineering services.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, Keith, thank you very much. Everyone, board members, thank you for coming out this evening. Thank you for all your work this year. As Keith mentioned, I think a lot of the work that you guys did, especially this year, is stuff that people really don't see, but it's building the foundation for the board, as well as how we move forward. And so I thank you for all the hard work that you guys have done. And I think that we're all excited about the future, not only of the board, but the town into 2026 and beyond. And I'm looking forward to continuing to work with each and every one of you in the years to come. So thank you very much. And I did want to mention one thing, Keith. You mentioned about Aurora Connects, and you're right. And I think the one thing a lot of people didn't realize, including members of the board, is how many people from an innovator, entrepreneur perspective live here in the town of Aurora. And I think bringing everyone together for that event opened their eyes, and they saw the potential here in the town of Aurora, especially from a medtech and biotech perspective. And I know that we've done a lot of work on how we can move that forward. I know we're talking to the province as well, and so there's a lot of exciting things to come. And I'm thankful for such knowledge and the great minds of this board. And so, thank you for everything, guys. Council, I'll call the vote. That carries. Confirming bylaw. Councilor Weiss. Councilor Gallo. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Motion to adjourn. Councilor Weiss, Councilor Gillen. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.